Week after the US Grand Prix, it's time for Mexican Grand Prix, and all eyes are on Sergio Perez, who dreams of a home victory at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Will the local hero succeed, or will the honours go to teammate Max Verstappen once again? Or could it not be Red Bull at all this weekend? Who knows? But anyway, what I do know is the Mexican Grand Prix was first organised in 1969 to be added to the official F1 calendar in 1963. The race was run 3 times by Jim Clark, a record equalled by Verstappen in 2021. After 1970, the Mexican Grand Prix disappeared from the F1 calendar, only to return in 1986. The year it was Gerhard Berger who won the race, followed with the Benetton team. In the following years, it was Nigel Mansell, Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna, and Ricardo Patrese recorded wins. Mansell and Prost succeeded twice. After the 1992 edition, the Mexican Grand Prix went on hiatus again, and it'd be a long time before it would reappear in F1. In 2015, the race returned to the calendar and had been since won most often by Verstappen, Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton, who also has managed to win the race. In 2020, the race was cancelled in Mexico due to the coronavirus. The circuit is named after the Rodriguez brothers. Pedro and Ricardo Rodriguez were considered the most successful Mexican F1 drivers in history until Perez's arrival at Red Bull. However, the Rodriguez brothers' story is a tragic one. Ricardo was headed for a golden future at Ferrari, but the Italian racing stable did not want to participate in the Mexican Grand Prix because it was not officially part of the F1 calendar. Instead, Ricardo competed in a Lotus Climax of Rob Walker Racing Team. Just on the weekend of his home race, the only 20-year-old driver was killed in a tragic accident during a practice session. His older brother, Pedro, drove for Ferrari Lotus Cooper and BRM during his F1 career, scoring 2 wins and 7 podium finishes. He was tragically killed in a racing accident. It happened during an inter-series race at the Northern Ring in 1971. 2 years later, the circuit in Mexico City was renamed the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Anyway, the battle for the world title place in the 2022 F1 season is over. Verstappen secured his second title victory in Japan, and Red Bull won a Constructors' title at the US Grand Prix for the first time since 2013. They managed to do so during an emotional weekend, which saw us on Thursday the death of Dietrich Mateschitz. The victory did not come automatically though. Verstappen outsmarted Hamilton in a thrilling duel in the final stage of the race after a poor stop by Red Bull. But anyway, moving on to the weather forecast this weekend, it doesn't seem to be adding excitement for now. There is a 40% chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon on Saturday, but for the rest of the weekend, it looks mostly sunny with temperatures around 25 degrees Celsius. Historically, though, Verstappen has had the best chance for a win at Mexico. This is partly due to the fact in previous years, Red Bull's car performed very strongly in conditions like in Mexico City. The thin air and twisty track suited the Red Bull very well. For the RB18, however, this might just be different. This year, it usually comes at Ferrari in the strong in the corners, where previously it was Red Bull's strong point. Mercedes also shown somewhere under the erratic W13 that it has decent hidden race pace. The German racing team suffers on straights where it was previously so dominant. At the Mexican Grand Prix, the straights do not dominate, so Mercedes will surely be out for revenge after missing out at Austin. However, all eyes will be on Perez, who dreams of a win in a home race and will be the grandstand's favourite. The Mexican has already indicated he does not want to get the win as a gift, but should the situation arise where he's ahead of Verstappen, he's confident his teammate will have his back, as he has done for Verstappen on several occasions prior.
The press conference on Thursday and in the paddock on Friday, there's kind of only been one discussion, kind of following on from really the last few weekends, the cost cap situation. Obviously Red Bull's punishment has now been revealed, £7 million fine plus 10% aero reduction. I mean, like, Red Bull say it's draconian, everyone else says it's not enough, kind of as expected. For me personally, maybe I was expecting maybe a slightly harsh penalty for Red Bull, but you know, it is what it is. I'm sure that will still hit them quite hard. So yeah, not too much to say really. I guess we'll have to see the fallout. Probably make a video later about it in a week. But anyway, moving on then to FP1. And yeah, it's kind of more representative of FP1 because of course FP2 was put aside for the tyre test. But it was Carlos Sainz first, just ahead of Leclerc. But you know, we look at it, the top 6, the 2 Ferraris, 2 Red Bulls, Lewis Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, all within 2/10. So yeah, definitely looks like it's going to be close this weekend. So yeah, I mean, interesting start to the session. Lots of issues with the likes of Lawson's AlphaTauri on fire towards the end. So yeah, maybe struggling at high altitude, some of the cars. And yeah, in FP2, it was George Russell who was fastest, 8/10 ahead of Yuki Tsunoda, then knock on. Obviously, it was the tyre test. Those 3 were the only ones who got to use current tyres, so that's probably why they had the advantage. They weren't running FP1. Lewis Hamilton was in 4th, top of the test runners, ahead of Perez and Verstappen, just behind. So yeah, it does look like Mercedes could be reasonably competitive. The main story of the session though has to be Leclerc's crash. Yeah, I mean, just losing it and going back first. Hopefully it didn't damage the gearbox, but yeah, we'll see. But yeah, good session for Mercedes.
Before I go, my predictions for this weekend. On pole, I'm going to say Verstappen, and then I'm going to say Red Bull will take new power unit components for Verstappen and say he can't get through the end, putting Leclerc on pole with Perez in second. I'm going to say Perez with Red Bull's extreme race pace will go on to win the race with Verstappen coming through to second. I think Red Bull are going to be dominant this weekend. And yeah, it's kind of a way for Red Bull to orchestrate a home victory for Perez without being too dodgy, you know what I'm saying. And I'm going to say Sainz will complete the podium in third. I'm going to say Leclerc will have some sort of issue. But anyway, guys, that's it really. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, lots of comments down in the comments section with daily F1 news and subscribe to my channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.